Yeah, this was a solid hire, Mark. Ultimately, Jess Simpson, his 1 year at Miami, he really takes advantage, of the players that he has at the defensive line. In 2018, they averaged 3 sacks per game. Miami also led the country with 10.5 tackles for loss per game, Mark. That's a very good stat line right there. I think they finished ninth in the nation with 3 sacks per game. I'm going to read you off some names, re-jog your memory. Joe Jackson had 14.5 tackles for loss with 9 sacks. Jonathan Garvin had 17 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. Gerald Willis as well with 18 tackles for loss with 4 sacks. If Miami can somehow create that chemistry they had with those guys on the defensive line and create chaos and get to the quarterback, create pressure, perhaps maybe we can replicate that 2018 team. We have DeAndre Johnson coming in at outside linebacker / defensive end. He's basically going to be our edge rusher. He had 5.5 sacks in the SEC. I think it's going to be a very nice transition for him in the ACC Coastal. We just have Nesta Silvera and Jonathan Ford coming back as well, plus Jared Harrison Hunt, our underclassman, who's going to be a star at the next level. One name to look out for is Javari Harvey as well. If Jess Simpson can make the most of what he had in 2018 and develop these guys, I really think our D-line is going to just reload and start where they left off last season. And I know it's a tough task, but I truly think with the guys we have, we can do a solid job with our defensive line. And Jess Simpson is the man for the job. He's done an incredible job in his career in general. He's a Georgia high school football legend. He was with the Atlanta Falcons, focusing on defensive tackles specifically. So he has an NFL resume. He's a legend in the high school level. He did a great job in 2018. Ultimately, I think this was a solid hire, Mark.
Got Paul Scoop on the U right here to break down Miami's personnel changes that have come down over the past few days. Check out Paul's work again. Paul Scoop on the U. You'll see it on the banner. Head over to his YouTube channel. Check out the videos there. Lock it in here. When you subscribe, you hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. I find it interesting of how we could interpret, Paul, the moves made in the defensive backfield. So you bring in Travaris Robinson to take over the entire secondary, but then you got Van Dyke taking over the cornerbacks. So I got a number of calls last night about this during my call-in show with people trying to interpret what does this mean, because the T-Rob hire was so popular, seems like such a great hire based on what he was able to accomplish at various stops. But then you bring in a cornerbacks coach, and that could be taken a number of ways.
So, yeah, Travaris Robinson, he was given the title as defensive backs coach. He will be overseeing our safeties and cornerbacks. Now, his resume dates back from University of Florida 2011 through 2014. He was the DB's coach there. At Auburn, his alma mater, he was the DB's coach there. 2016 through 2020, he was the defensive coordinator / defensive backs coach at South Carolina under Will Muschamp. So the way I see this, Travaris Robinson, T-Rob, is basically just overseeing our safeties and cornerbacks, and he's utilizing an assistant coach such as Demarcus Van Dyke just to assist him. Demarcus Van Dyke is basically going to be like a student, his pupil, learning from Travaris Robinson and helping him in the recruiting trail and developing our secondary, ultimately, specifically corners. One thing people miss out about Demarcus Van Dyke, he does not get credit from 247 Sports with recruits that he is a part of that process. He's a very good recruiter. He's a local guy from Opelika, Florida, went to Monsignor Pace Senior High School, 4-star, highly profile recruit coming out of high school. He knows the area very well. He played for the Oakland Raiders. I think he was a 3rd-round draft picked NFL player. Listen, he can recruit. He's done a very good job. That is something Miami is missing. Do not underestimate Demarcus Van Dyke. I understand that this is his first big gig in college football, but I truly think Manny Diaz, there is a reason why Demarcus Van Dyke, he did not let him go to Utah State and wanted to keep him at Miami, whether it was with a raise, a promotion with that position. I think ultimately you're going to see a lot of success on the recruiting trail. Not to mention, Mark, I mean, the list of names Travaris Robinson has recruited and taken to the NFL. Vernon Hargraves III, 1st-round pick. He's currently with the Texans. Jalen Tabor, cornerback. He was a 2nd-round pick. Marcel Harris, 6th-round pick, currently with the 49ers. Keanu Neal, 1st-round pick with the Falcons currently. J.C. Jackson, cornerback, doing a spectacular job. Won Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. Duke Dawson, he's a strong safety. He was drafted in the 2nd round, currently with the Broncos. And Quincy Wilson, cornerback, 2nd-round pick as well. He was with the Colts starting out his career. I think he moved to the Jets and then another team. But ultimately, those are just a quick few names I jotted down before the show. He's done a tremendous job in learning. Demarcus Van Dyke learning from Travaris Robinson. I think ultimately this is a recipe for success. And I think recruiting-wise, you're going to see Miami landing a lot more recruits, even under the radar guys, or 4-star, maybe even that random 5-star recruit that you thought Miami couldn't get in the past. We may land them now.
I remember all those players for the Gators that you named, and so that covers 2011, 12, 13, and 14. So that's 4 seasons under Robinson when he was in Gainesville. It would be curious to know how many Miami players produced NFL careers from those secondaries, those 4 years. Ronan, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. Always appreciated. Let's get to this one. Great to see Paul back again. Hopefully Manny's choice to take over play calling will help to get this defense back on track. Surprise Baker is still there. Keep up the great work, Mark. Go Canes. Ronan, we always appreciate your support. You know that. Thank you for joining us today as well. And we are going to get to the Blake Baker situation in just a second. But yeah, by all indications, Travaris Robinson, a great hire. Interesting in terms of, again, I received a number of calls last night, Paul, people, Miami fans concerned about the cornerback coach hire of Van Dyke. And I said there's a number of ways to interpret it, but if you see value in somebody and they're able to, there's a lot of responsibility there. And if they are adept at breaking down with all the issues that they've had, specifically a cornerback this past season, really study game film technique, quality control details, that sort of thing. It's just extra eyes, extra ability to look at the Alabama coaching staff. Now, numbers don't always equal success or excellence, but numbers utilized the right way, and the Alabama coaching staff is bigger than any in the nation. They're constantly adding assistants and analysts and consultants, and we're talking about high-level guys that have had major head coaching jobs, and they just keep adding and adding and adding. Well, the recipe is not just adding bodies, but having specific functions for them to do to tighten up the ship